Thanks everyone. So I'm Ben. I work at Algolia. I'm lucky enough to have had Maxime, my coworker, present yesterday how you can implement a pretty fast search on a Locqueville app. So he kind of chewed the work for me. So I'm gonna try to stay on time. In a nutshell, Algolia is at least to my opinion, the #1 search platform for building pretty great search within your app. So Algolia is a 4-year-old company, and in 4 years, we achieved quite a bit. We went from being a couple people in a small office in Paris to be 150 people with 10,000 apps that are live today with our search. And we handle almost 1 billion search queries per month. It's pretty crazy, and it took a lot of work, but it's also really fun. If you go to Twitch or to a whole bunch of websites that you might use on a weekly basis, you might find out the cool experience that we can bring to user. For us, search is a simple 3-step process. You push your data to Algolia, you customize the ranking, and if any of you have built an Elasticsearch app or anything with Solar, customizing the ranking is actually pretty easy to do. We have a pretty great API and a pretty great dashboard so that you can both have your technical people, but also your product and marketing people play around with the ranking, and then build a search UX. Where same thing. There's honestly, as soon as the talk that Maxime gave yesterday go live, you can build a pretty cool UX within 20-30 minutes of work, and then obviously you're gonna improve it over time. The whole goal is kind of the tendency today, which is to have more impact without spending too much time on each feature. We do see some pretty great number in user engagement. So whether you're tracking click-through rates, conversion from search, or pretty much anything you can have, we do tend to see that a good search experience is also leading to an increased user engagement, and also more relevant result. We kind of on a crusade against the 0 result page, and we have a whole bunch of tricks that we use for you to never have your user trying to type something and not find it. And then the advantage is minimal tech debt. So if you implement us one API, so not that we want you to, but it's easy to implement us, it's also easy to replace us, so there's no tech debt that stays from implementing Algolia. And then you don't have to think about infrastructure, you don't have to think about scaling. We're going to scale with you, whether you have a couple hundred objects that you want to make searchable, or if you have hundreds of millions, you're not going to have the headache of maintaining a complex infrastructure. There's 3 big pillars for us. There's the user experience. We do have a Vue.js library that we just released. We do have a React library that we released a couple months ago. So the user experience is actually really key to us. A front-end search is often linked to a faster search. And then the developer experience, there's definitely, it is an easy-to-use API. And yeah, the developer part of it is why we're here today, and why we have some of our lead engineers that come to conferences, is because that's what matters to us. We got there by helping people initially with small apps, and now we're a bit bigger. But yeah, the developer experience is key to us, and anyone that has made some search on the Laravel, like on the Laravel documentation, can see that we can help developers on their day-to-day job. And then obviously the infrastructure part, what we do want to be reliable everywhere in the world. I kind of chose to skip the infrastructure part because then it's going to take me more than 5 minutes. But yeah, if you have some question, we're just outside. So to engage with your user, you definitely have a couple ways to do it. We handle full text search and faceting, meaning that as soon as you're going to push us data that has some like structure within the JSON, then we're going to be able to not only help you with the search, but also with the navigation, whether it's by creating slider on prices or by just creating some faceting for people to filter in or out some results. And then we have the instant search, which Maxime showed you guys yesterday. And you have the autocomplete. That's a bit more of a classic implementation, like you could find when you go to Amazon or Twitter, where you're just going to have like every keystroke is going to give you some kind of type ahead experience. So the user experience, we improve it by obviously handling the relevance, handling the typo tolerance. So out of the box, we're going to be typo tolerant in pretty much any languages, and that includes like sign-based languages. So from Chinese to Arabic to Japanese, we're going to be able to handle that out of the box. Smart highlighting, it's often an underrated component to a good search, but if you show your user why the search matter, then it's going to help them a lot understand why they are shown that result. That can be especially useful if you have some tags attached to your data and the match can be maybe less clear. It's good to inform the user. Geo-awareness, if you want to do a search depending on where your user is, that's something we can handle out of the box. If you guys have ever used Periscope, when you actually zoom in on the map, it actually sends a search query to Algolia within the 4 geolog points, and we're going to retrieve the result in the end, searching without a search bar. And then the global language support that I just talked about. What it looks like is this. So this is a non-accelerated GIF of what search looks like on Birchbox. So they have a pretty cool desktop implementation where you can see pretty like modern take on the classic drop-down. So we do have the JavaScript libraries that enable you guys to build that fairly easily. And in the end, you can search through multiple type of content. They have their main PHP website, but also have on the right index their WordPress blog and have created some kind of meta search. So this is the kind of experience we go for, something easy where as soon as you press a keystroke, you're going to be able to find the right content. I'm sure you guys all have teams that work really hard on providing content, and making it searchable is essential. Then you can put that on mobile. This is the exact same website where when you're going to go on mobile, they built a responsive app. And in the end, they just adapted the design, but they do have coherent results between the actual desktop website and the mobile website to not confuse their user when they switch platform. So yeah, 10,000 apps that are split between 2,800 customers. We do have some cool metrics, and I think I'm almost running out of time, but in the end, whether you're like a little market is a Etsy company that has 2 million products that they need to search within in real time, with 800,000 different retailers that are going to update products, and for whom we're going to take care of both the indexation part that can be really challenging when you have those kind of metrics, but also the actual user experience part. And I've seen some cool numbers. The 10% increase in search conversion, it can mean pretty much anything. I have a million metrics, and they're all specific to each website, but I think that what's interesting is that we can solve this complex problem with, in the end, a fairly simple solution for the developer. And then we have people that are going to have maybe a smaller catalog, just 85,000, but just very active user and like peak of traffic at sometimes. And this is pretty challenging. And that's where the infrastructure kick in. So you can host your data pretty much anywhere in the world, from South America to Hong Kong or Europe. And so those people have the challenge of having 200 countries accessing their website, and still, no matter where the user is in the world, we're going to retrieve the result in less than 20 milliseconds. So that was a brief sponsor overview. I'm sure that after me is going to be a bit less of a commercial talk, but it is honestly a great product. The one last thing I'm going to say is that we have a booth right outside, and we decided this year to not give out any T-shirts, but instead, if you fill up the form, you actually donate $10 to Coalition for Queen. That is an association that will provide free coding classes for people in the Queens. So make a good action when you come out. Fill it up. There's a little opt-out thing if you don't want us to contact you from it, but at least instead of having a new closet full of shirts, you'll give $10 to a Create Association. Yeah, that's it.